fiction, what do you think of?
Big science.
Star Wars.
Harry Potter.
Star Trek.
I was going to say Star Trek.
So, science fiction, better known as sci-fi, is a literary and cinematic genre that is often defined by futuristic settings, advanced technology, life on other planets, and space travel. Sci-fi blends what we know to be true with concepts that we haven't quite figured out yet, or that aren't possible by our current standards. Things like unlimited clean energy, teleportation, and warp capabilities are just a few examples. You probably recognize a few of these franchises: The X-Files, Star Trek, Star Wars, Dune, and Alien. These are all perfect examples of the many appeals of this genre: the adventure, exploration, mystery, and even the horror of the unknown. By now, you're probably thinking, what's she talking about? We get it. You like sci-fi. But it's more than that. For some background, I was practically raised on science fiction. My parents were huge nerds. There was no escaping it. I've seen every movie you've never heard of, and I am no stranger to predictable plots and terrible special effects. But I also grew up neurodivergent. For those of you who don't know what that means, neurodivergent is an umbrella term for people whose mental or neurological functions differ from what is considered normal or neurotypical. Some of you may recognize, or even have, one of these conditions that fall under the neurodivergent umbrella. In short, I process information differently than the majority. But when I was younger, I didn't know this. All I knew was that, for some reason, I couldn't connect. I didn't click with other people. And in a manner of speaking, I felt alien. When you're a kid that struggles to communicate, it's difficult to relate to others. And when you can't relate to the people around you, you tend to find the next best thing. For me, that was science fiction. One of my earliest memories is of sitting in my grandparents' spare bedroom, watching an episode of Star Trek they put on to keep me occupied. I understood none of what was going on, didn't know what a warp core or phaser was, but I loved it. Looking back now, it feels pretty obvious that a little kid who felt set apart from their peers would be drawn to a show where literal aliens from all sorts of diverse backgrounds and worlds came together for a common cause. Sci-fi gave me hope that one day I wouldn't be considered so different, and maybe I can make others like me feel welcome too. Little kids with big dreams aren't the only ones inspired by science fiction. In fact, many inventors and innovators whose technology we use in our everyday lives were too. Martin Cooper, the creator of the cell phone, pulled inspiration from Dick Tracy's radio watch and Star Trek's communicators when his company was designing the first flip phone. These fictional technologies were imagined 30, maybe even 50 years before the first commercial telephone. And now, we use phones on an average of 58 times per day. So next time you go to check the time or text your friends, don't just thank the inventor, thank science fiction. While it isn't meant to be a blueprint of the future, science fiction provides us with a light in the darkness to remind us what could be possible. Whether you're someone looking forward to better days or dreaming up the next big thing in tech, sci-fi has something to offer you. And as we conclude, remember the words of Martin Cooper in regards to science fiction. That was not fantasy to us. That was an objective. Discover your next passion, goal,